Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, hope you're all good. So following on from a video I've just done recently regarding the Victory VX Kraken and my top 3 favourite settings, which if you've not seen, I'll put a link in the description box, I figured I'd do the same thing for the other lunchbox heads that I own at my house. So next we're going to be looking at the Sheriff 22, which is, it's like the lunchbox version of the bigger one, which is the 44, which is in the wooden sleeve, which I'm sure some of you have seen. Now the Sheriff 22 came out, not this NAMM but the NAMM before, and it's basically just an all-out sort of plexi style amplifier, really British sounding rock tones, and essentially you've got 2 volumes, you've got 2 inputs on the front, and you've got a single master, so you can gun the master all the way up and then ride the gain how you want if you want that kind of tone, or likewise you can gun the volume and drop the master down if you want more saturated tones. Very useful amplifier, especially if you enjoy hard rock, classic rock, bluesy tones, leady tones, anything like that. So the first favourite setting of mine is where I've got volume 2, we're in volume 2 input, and we've got it at about just above 9 o'clock, around 10 o'clock, but I've put the master all the way up. I've boosted the mid-range and the bass, and I've pulled back the treble, and the presence is at 12 o'clock. And I'm using that with a Strat. This is a 60s Strat, so the pickups in it are the fat 60s. But again, you know, most Strats are going to sound good through this. But yeah, let me give you a demonstration of how it sounds. So that was just some sort of blues rock riffing stuff, and I just thought it'd be a good demonstration of the tone that you can get. What I really like about it is, because the volume's gunned all the way, it's wide open, so you hear a lot of the harmonic content going on. And with volume 2 being just above 9 o'clock, so around 10 o'clock, you've still got loads of headroom for gain if you want it. But the reason I like it where it is, particularly using a single coil guitar, is that if you were to dig in, even on bridge, but if you were to pick lighter, add a bit of reverb in, you get these kind of tones. So, I mean, it's dynamic, you know, that's why I enjoy it. With the volume, master volume being that high up, it's really dynamic, so you do benefit from that with regards to how you want to play. Another really cool thing you can do on this setting is if you throw a fuzz in. I know I always use fuzz, but I just think it sounds really cool. It's got that bluesy, over-the-top kind of breaking the speaker vibe to it. On the bridge pickups, not as good for chords, but for lead it definitely sounds good. So I'm using the Walrus Audio Jupiter Fuzz, much like with the Kraken video, and this is what we've got. This is without. Throw it in. I love it. I think it sounds huge. So there you go. That's my first favourite setting. Cool, so my next favourite tone, I'm using my PRS because it's got humbucker in it, but it's I suppose it's less output and it's a thinner range than your standard humbucker, so you might want to try like something vintage for this. A vintage Les Paul humbucker or anything like that. P90s are going to sound great on bridge. But this tone is kind of that, it's a thicker, like classic rock humbucker tone, so it's a bit chewy. So you want the gain on volume 1 at halfway, you want to back off the master to about 3/4, keep the EQ where they are. Yeah, so you can see it on the GoPro. This is how it sounds. So it's kind of a low gain rhythm tone, that kind of, it's way more for chugging and strumming. Which is nice, but the cool thing is now if you gun the gain, then you get a nice lead tone and it still falls under that same vibe, you know what I mean? So I'm going to gun the gain now. Cool, so the gain and the volume are both at 3/4 now, so we should get some pretty intense, saturated, high gain tones. So that would be my second favourite setting. Once again, hugely versatile. I put a bit of reverb and delay on there and I backed off the volume. And again, you can go from like these really intense, thick lead tones and overdrive tones to really glassy, clean tones. And I really, really like that. On to my last favourite setting. So my third and final tone, and I'm sure you're all wondering why I'm holding a baritone. That is exactly what I'm doing. And the reason is that basically, I love using a baritone with that glassy clean tone with a bit of reverb and delay. So that's what I'm going to do. But on the guitar, it's a double humbucker guitar. Well, this is a miniature humbucker, but the settings are I've coil split and I'm in the middle position. So if you guys have got guitars like that, that's what you want to do there. And then on the amplifier, as you can see, I'm back into volume 1 again. Volume 1's just over quarter and master volume's all the way up. I've boosted the presence and the treble at the mid-range, so this is the kind of sound we get. I really, really love it. So the thing I like about this particular tone is that, well, you can make it sound quite muddy if you're not careful, but if you use a coil split, single coil kind of guitar, but in a low tuning, you can get some really cool sounds. Now you can kind of hear the gain stage wanting to engage a bit there, and that's because the humbucker is so high output and it's really pushing the front end of the amp. But again, dynamic playing really helps you out. So there it is, guys. That's my favourite 3 tones using the Victory Sheriff 22. I deliberately chose 3 different guitars to demonstrate that it is more than just your kind of archetypal plexi single master kind of classic amplifier. You know, it can be used with modern guitars, can be used with modern pickups and modern outputs and stuff, and also using it with delay and reverb and a bit of fuzz just to demonstrate other tones you can get out of it. I love this amplifier. As soon as I heard it at NAMM 2 years ago, I was like, I have to have one of these. And I'm really glad that I've got it in my sort of amp collection, because for recording, it's mega useful to have that, you know, bright, articulate, glassy tone, you know. So I'm really glad it's in there. And also, I'm interested to blend it with other amplifiers in the future, so watch out for that video. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll put links in the description box. Like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all very soon.